in the struggle to get there, right? Because I think
Yes.
sometimes, I know when you first talked to us, you were like, have you heard of the sustainable development goals? And I was like, yes, we have. But I think it's because a lot of the people you were talking to maybe hadn't heard about it or didn't care about the same things you did, and now you found people that do, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, like everybody has like their SDG pin, and I'm like, oh my god, look, I want to.
We're in the same place, we're going towards the
Yes.
same things. I think those are definitely some of the moments where your cup is filled again, right? Where you're like, I don't have to explain myself, people get it here, and now we just get to work towards these goals together, right? And we get to do things together. Hello everyone, my name is Fernanda Martinez-Donaus. I am the Executive Director of RioProgress and the host of RioProgress, the podcast. I am so excited to be here with our guest today, Katia Lui, who is a rising sophomore at UT Austin and is one of our RioProgress alumni. And I am so excited to have this conversation with her today. Thank you for joining us, Katia.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd like to start by having you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're studying at UT, and anything else you would like to add in that intro.
Sure. So my name is Katia Lui. I was born and raised in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. So my first language is Spanish. And then I later moved to Brownsville when I was 8, and I came to study here. I now live here. I've lived here most of my life, and now I speak English. Yes, as you guys can see. Yeah, so I'm
What
at
are
UT.
you studying at UT?
Ooh, that's my favorite thing to say. So I am studying business management at Macombs, and I just got accepted into the College of Liberal Arts. So I'll be double majoring this year. I'll start in International Relations and Global Studies, and I am extremely excited.
So double majoring is not normally something we recommend as part of RioProgress because it can be a lot of work. But I know you took on a challenge this year to prove that you could double major and handle the stress. Could you tell us a little bit about what you learned through your first year, right, of navigating through college and going through that process?
Yes, so I took on the RioProgress challenge. I am a person that likes to take on a lot of tasks and responsibilities, which I highly do not recommend. But I was scheduled to graduate in 3 years from Macombs because I graduated with my associate's degree from TSC here. And when I learned about the possibility of double majoring, like I was immediately like set on it.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to you and Phil, and the first reply was no.
It wasn't a no, it was like a why.
Okay, true. Yes. I at first I took it as a no because like I don't know. I understood why you guys wouldn't want me to, because again, it is like a huge responsibility. And when I asked like why or like what I could do to have y'all's blessing to do this, you guys explained how from your point of view I was like doing a lot of things and I was just not giving myself a break, which was 100% true. So since that day, since December 2024, for this whole spring semester, I took Sundays off, and it was great. Like I realized how I actually needed a day off. I just didn't work on any like
school
stuff or like
clubs.
No clubs, no businesses, nothing. I watched a lot of documentaries. And I played a lot of Minecraft. And I visited a coffee shop. So I actually took time to like visit Austin because I mean
and get to know the city that you're living in. Can you tell us a little bit about what was on your plate besides academics? Because I know you were accepted into the founder program, for example. You were also trying to launch and present a business proposal. So could you tell us a little bit about that stuff that you were doing?
Yes, I would love to talk about that. So my senior year, I applied to the Kendra Scott Women's Entrepreneurship Leadership Institute, or KSWELI, as I'll call it KSWELI. Because I had started like my own like crystal jewelry shop online, fully online. I had the opportunity to sell some of my stuff at El Hueso de Fraile here downtown, but it wasn't like a humongous business. Like it wasn't like it was like
you were starting.
I was just starting, and this was like before I had committed to a university. I was just like, oh, like I heard on Instagram that KSWL is accepting like applications, so I don't lose anything. Let's do it. It took like 2 months, and I would get notifications on my Apple Watch that somebody from Austin was like looking at my website, and I'm like, is this a sign? Like, should I?
Because that's where Kendra Scott headquarters are, or
that's where they have the program. Well, yeah, it's like it's in campus. They have like their own like center, yeah, like the Kendra Scott Center. And I don't know, that's how like UT Austin started to like come to mind. Like I had gotten accepted, I had gotten into McCombs. I didn't really realize how hard it actually is to get into McCombs, and I like it served as a motive to commit there. So few months pass, I get a letter like, congratulations, you're accepted into the Found Her program, and I'm like, oh shoot. By that time I had already committed to UT, so I was like, okay, like
cherry on top,
perfect, like this is where I am meant to be. And I was there for a whole semester. It's only a semester program. I'm not like, we can't reapply because like the whole program itself is just like mentoring. You go to like workshops and that's it. Like new founders like come in. But we still get to stay. We still have like a Slack channel.
Connected with like the people.
Yes. So there's like, in the organization itself, there's 1,000, like more than 1,000 girls. In the Found Her program, there's like 100.
Okay.
But 100 of some of the most brilliant women in Austin. So it was like shocking because I had like imposter syndrome, because like I'm just a girl from Matamoros. Like, what am I doing here? But it was great. Yeah.
And you earned your spot there, right? You had worked really hard. We got to meet you starting in like October of your junior year or so. No, of senior year, sorry. You came to a senior year. And I remember that you were like, I have all of these accomplishments. This is everything I've done. And this is where I want to go. And this is what I want to do. Very focused from the start. And so all of that hard work paid off, not just with UT Austin, but also with the programs you've gotten to do while you're there. I know Founder was mostly mentorship and talking through how to do entrepreneurship as a woman in this space. But I also know that you did a proposal competition.
Yes.
With V&V. So can you tell us about what that is and what that process was like? Because I know there were some moments of panic and some moments of stress. And so we want to hear a little bit of that too, right? The behind the scenes of it.
Yes. So back in high school, my sophomore year, I joined a BPA club. So BPA is Business Professionals of America, and it's I believe not every high school has it here in the Valley, but most of them. So it's like for students interested in business. They don't need to be like in the business career pathway, but I loved business, so I entered this entrepreneurship competition, and that was the business idea that I had for like a high school competition. So at first I didn't really see like potential in it. Like all of the potential only existed in my mind. Like supposedly like in my head, like in the future I would like open like my own like corporation and like have like open a V&V up. But like back in high school, like,
so tell us what V&V is.
Okay. So V&V stands for vegan and vegetarian. When I was a freshman in high school, my celebrity crush was vegan.
That was the inspiration. That started it all. Okay.
And my dad got like, I diagnosed with diabetes, and like I spoke to him. I'm like, hey, like, why like aren't you changing your diet? And he was like, it's hard. He works literally like almost all day, and like the easiest thing for lunch is just to go grab like a fast food. And there's, other than salads, there's no like fast food like alternatives like that are healthy
and that taste good and are filling and quick and all that stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So that's like, I mixed all of that idea together and like created like my own like business idea, and I used that to compete my sophomore year, made it as an alternate, but no, that was my junior year. My junior year, I competed with that idea, made it as an alternate. I got third place. And then my senior year, I go to regionals, made it as a second place by default because nobody else competed against me.
It's okay. Second place. We don't care how it happened.
It's okay. And then made it a state. After that, at state, I got third place, made it to nationals. Nationals, that was like the big deal because like I mean, it's like the best from the United States. And again, I'm just a girl from Matamoros. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Made it a state. By miracle, I passed preliminaries.
Okay.
So I'm in the top 12 of the US, and then I ranked 10th at last because I also kind of got in a panic. Like, a little panic, like the last pitch that I had to do before like they told us our final place. But that's when I started seeing potential in it, because when I went to state, when I passed preliminaries at state, the lady was like, "Oh, you're the one with the restaurant," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, they've been talking about you.
So I'm like, okay, like this is good vibe. Like I'm hearing potential here, and all of that just stayed in my mind. So fast forward, now that I'm at UT, I'm going through the Found Her program. I get an email from the Harkey Institute the Harkey Institute of Entrepreneurial Studies, and they like their newsletters, and they're like, hey, like if there's any entrepreneurs in campus that are interested in doing a pitch competition, sign up. And the pitch competition was being hosted by the Herb Keller Entrepreneurship Center. So at UT we have two entrepreneurship centers, the Harkey and the Herb Keller.
Okay.
Both there at Macombs. They sound very similar, but they're very different, honestly. And I'm like, what do I lose? Like, what do I lose? It was a long application. It was like 20 questions, like about like your business and everything. But I went to go talk to the assistant director of the Herb Keller, and I'm like, hey, like I have these two businesses. So I have Astro Shop, which is the one that's like being active here in campus. But then I also had this other idea that I competed in high school. And then she's like, you should compete with the vegan one. And I'm like, okay. So I did. Turned in my application and waited two weeks, and then I get an email, you're a semifinalist. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? Because I was literally eating lunch, and it happened it's like a mystery to me, because I was eating with a friend whose name is also Maria. And well, she's very like, she's like I wouldn't say religious, but yes. Well, she in the Catholic group that she's in, they all like take their Virgin Mary like every week. Then they take them like
okay.
And I was like with her, and she had their Virgin Mary, and then I get the email.
So it felt very like serendipity or like a miracle, like something had happened.
I was like, whoa. And like she saw my face that I couldn't believe it. And then I couldn't believe it even more when I read the email that there was like 110 applicants, and I was one of the 16 that made it as a semifinalist. And then I go back to the assistant director, and I'm like, hey, like I made it as a semifinalist. And she's like, yeah, and you were the only freshman that made it as a semifinalist. And I'm like, nah.
We're very proud. We're like proud parents.
I'm like, there is no, like, I couldn't believe it. And then like that whole process like went through. It's because I mean it's a lot of info, but like I ended up competing. I didn't make it as a finalist, but I was like in the top 8 as of what like the information that they gave me. But I was still very like proud.
Yeah, and you should be.
I don't know, like it wasn't. I don't know.
You took advantage of an opportunity that was presented to you, which I think is something that we have seen since we were working with you. Whatever the opportunity was, you're like, yes, I'm going to apply. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. And in this case, it paid off, even if it wasn't all the way, but you learned a lot from it. I remember talking to you about the feedback that they gave you, and you have a more, not precise, but a more focused plan for what you want this business to be in the future.
Yes.
Right. And so I think all of that is rewarding, and it makes sense to be proud of all of that. We're proud of that. I'm curious if V&V is still in the works, if you're still planning on making it happen at some point, or if it's something that you're like, no, like I think I'm gonna switch gears or do something else.
So it's very interesting because when I went into UT, my whole focus was like, okay, I'm a Macomb student, I can do anything. And luckily I still have that drive.
Good.
But all of that like motivation went into making Astro Shop happen. Until being there, hearing other people's perspectives opened my eyes up and realizing that no, like I do have potential, but it's not with Astro Shop, it's with VMV. And that's something that I wasn't expecting because like if VMV would have ever happened, it would have been until I was like 35 or up, now that I had after I had like business experience and like money to invest. But I doing this pitch competition, after I was able to do a 2-minute pitch like at the actual pitch competition, and one of the directors for the Harky goes up to me. He's like wow, we can't believe that like you did this. And then he told me how like the day after the pitch competition they had like a meeting, like all like the board, like the Harky, the herb killer, like everybody, and they talked about me. They're like, we have like I don't, what did they say, this they call me like the freshman because as of what they said, not everybody has the guts to do what I did.
It's a brave thing to go up there with a lot more experienced people and still present and say, I'm going to give it my best shot and I'm going to show up and I'm going to pitch this business idea, even when maybe you're feeling like I can't believe I'm here. And then on top of that, knowing that you're the youngest, right? Or the person that is new to the scene, like that takes a lot of guts and a lot of bravery to do. And I'm sure that's what they were seeing too.
Yeah. So just like hearing that from them, I was like, okay, there's something happening. This is my novela time, like my novela moment. And yes.
Okay.
I forgot what I was gonna say. And it was even like more eye-opening because when I found out like who I had lost to qualify for finals, because the way that it worked, there was 16 semifinalists. They divided us in 4. The first place of each like
category
group, would have like went to finals. I got second in my category. I lost 2 seniors. So I was like, okay, like I can't, because I did get mad at myself for some time. I was like, I can do better. Like if I was able to like make it at nationals, like there's nothing like
that should have stopped me.
Yeah. But then I did take it to heart that I didn't make it to finals. But then I was like, okay, I'm competing against 2 seniors from UT Austin and one partner, like they had a partner from Rice. And I'm in against me, a freshman that just got here.
Which just shows all the potential you have. You still have another 3 years, right, to get to that point where you're the one winning these competitions. You're the one going to the finals and making all that happen. I'm curious how you got interested in, because part of this journey, right, also led you to sustainability and an interest in international relations from that angle. How does that all connect? How does entrepreneurship, sustainability, international relations connect for you?
Okay. Oh, that's a tough question. So starting off like with VMV, I tried changing my diet. And I was successful for a few months. I was like vegetarian. My parents like supported me all the way. And then I like stopped like my sophomore year. But during that time, I was able to like learn that the reason why climate change is, well, one of the reasons why climate change is happening is because of cow farts. Yes.
Methane specifically.
Yes. It's funny to say that it's cow farts, honestly. And I was able to like learn a lot of facts. I got introduced into the Sustainable Development Goals, which are 17 goals set by the UN, goals that we want to accomplish by the year of 2030. Unfortunately, we're only like 14.
We're very far away from like achieving 14%. The goals.
Yeah. But just having like knowing that the world had a goal was very like inspirational, and it showed me that there was potential for my business to have an impact in the world. Now that I'm in business, I hear how unfair sometimes businesses are. Unfortunately, sometimes like CEOs only worry about making profits or without really caring about like the workers that they have. And unfortunately, now that like I'm in the valley, we're not like a recognized city. Like at the end of the day, that affects us.
Mm-hmm.
So being given the opportunity, or being granted by God, like the idea of a business that has potential in helping sustainability and if successful enough, like offer like fair wages.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I believe my life motive is at, like
Mm-hmm.
my reason of being, like making a fair businesses and help as much as you can. So that's how I feel like it kind of blends it all together.
I think it does.
Okay.
This is not a me saying like, oh, how could this possibly make sense? I see the connections, and I know I've worked with you long enough where I know how these pieces fit for you. But I think it's interesting to hear, right, how they've come together slowly, because it's not like from the start you already knew this is what you wanted to do and this is how you wanted to do it, but more like as you started working on this, things started, information, knowledge, you learn more, you grow, and then you've been adding to your piece of the puzzle of
Yes.
what this will look like for you. And I know you just got back from a really exciting program that probably added even more to this.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to mess it up, but I think it's the Youth Assembly, the AFS Youth Assembly in New York. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience, including the travel and the craziness that I know happened?
Okay, yes. So I heard about the AFS intercultural programs first. So AFS was started after World War I by a group of guys that volunteer as nurses, and they got together and like realized like, why can't like we have like a group of like people from different cultures that like that we just like get along, you know? Like
why can't we all get along?
Why can't
and
we
bake
just
rainbows?
friends at this point? Sorry. And that's how like AFS started. So they started with like exchange programs, and that back in, if this was at the 30th Youth Assembly, that means it started in 1995. My math is mathing up. So in 1995, they started like with the AFS Youth Assembly. So it's like a global conference that happens once a year for 3 days in New York City, where they have delegates from all over the world, ages 18 through 35. That's why it's called like the Youth Assembly. They gather up and they go to like different workshops to get information to bring back into their communities. I had applied for a scholarship because they have academies that happen at the same time as the assembly does. They have Changemakers Academy, they have one for teachers, and they have the Climate Entrepreneurship Academy. These academies are expensive because I mean you have to pay for your airplane. I mean your your travel, hotel, the tuition. So the only way I could attend is if I received a scholarship. I applied when I was 16. I would have been 17, so I didn't really qualify, and I was aware of this, but I still applied because I mean you could always receive newsletters. And then I applied when I was 17. I would have been 18 by the time of the assembly, and I didn't receive the scholarship. And then last December I applied, and then in February I was at a lunch. I was like having lunch with some directors from Dell. We were having like Chinese food, and they were like talking about like their projects, and I get a notification on my watch and it said AFS letter. And I'm like, oh, like this is the part where I get rejected like the past 2 years. And then I see like on my watch, I'm like, AFS letter, congratulate. And I'm like, can I step out for a moment? Yes, of course, go ahead. I open the email. Congratulations, you have been accepted into the Climate Entrepreneurship Academy with a full scholarship offered by BP, which is British Petroleum. I breathe. I call my mom. My mom was asleep. And she's like, ¿Qué pasó? I'm like, I'm going to New York. And she's like, what? It's que I'm going to go to New York.
I love that you probably sounded to her like you were in an emergency instead of really happy.
And then I add my dad into the call, and my dad's just like in his like office, and he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, it's because, and then I explained everything to them, and they're like, are you sure it's not a scam? And I'm like,
I love that for them.
I'm like, I hope so. And then the first thing that they said was like, call Maria and Phil and make sure this is not fake. And I'm like, okay. So that's when I call you guys. Like right when I got to my dorm, I'm like, hey, can you guys help me check this out? And that's how I got into that's how I got the scholarship. Then I found out that I think it was like 25 or 30 scholarships that were offered, and there was 3,000 applicants. So it was harder to get the scholarship than get into MIT. I'm just kidding. Okay, not like that, but like
I don't think that's the right math, but I think you're on track.
Okay, we should probably cut that. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So you went.
So I went, and I missed my flight.
It's okay. So this was your first time flying on your own and traveling on your own and learning how to do that process, which I know is something that one of the things we talk about with our students when they first leave is you're going to be growing in ways that are not academic as well, right? You're going to be learning how to navigate a new city on your own, or you're going to be learning how to take public transit. And this was probably a crash course in a lot of that because Austin, you're like, okay, it's still Texas. I still can understand how to do this. New York is a different beast. And so you get there, and you also told me earlier that you were the leader for the group.
Yes.
And apparently gave New York vibes. And so you were leading people through Times Square.
Yes.
So do you feel like you've mastered public transportation at this point?
Definitely. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I can confidently say that I'm a pro at subway number 1 and 2. They're like the ones that go straight. Anything across, I'm not there yet. But 1 and 2, I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
I love that. What did you learn at this youth assembly? Is there anything that's going to change your plans or that's affected your thoughts about things?
Yes. So thanks to the scholarship that I received, I was eligible to take a certification called the Global Up certification. So a month and a half prior to me departing to New York, I had every Friday meetings at 7 in the morning.
Okay.
And that wasn't ideal. But from 7 to like 9, I would meet with other like delegates also from my academy. And we would discuss things that we like learned from our modules with the certification. So I had no idea that this certification existed, but it is like so important to have. And it teaches you how to respect and how to respectfully learn about other cultures, how to properly ask questions, how to address things, like all of that at the end of the day are skills that that once I finish with my international relations career, this is something that I'm going to have to apply into my career. So can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what did you learn and how is it going to impact your choices moving forward or the plans that you have for the future?
Okay. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, after, like, this certification was, like, one of the greatest things that I earned. Nothing related to climate entrepreneurship, just, like, personal values that I had to, like, install in myself once I realized that I was going to collaborate with other individuals. So, that certification was definitely a plus. And then once I get to the assembly, I didn't get culture shock because I had already gotten culture shock being at UT. So I wasn't really like concerned about that. But it was really cool to make friends from different places. Like I have friends from Brazil, I have friends from Peru, from Italy, from like Africa. Like it's so cool. But I learned, I wouldn't say the hard way, that every culture at the end of the day, they work really different. They all have different values. For example, I took a group of adults to Times Square, and yes, as you mentioned, I navigated the subway system, not like a pro because I was biting my nails the whole way. But when it came the time to decide where we were gonna go, there was people that kind of didn't get the hint that if we went as a group, it's because we were gonna like all have a say in what we wanted to do. So it happened that I wanted to go to this bakery at the end after I took them to all these like different places, and some people didn't want to go. So like in my mind, I'm like if I was them, like I would try to be considerate that like as a thank you, maybe like as a thank you, like at least like join the plan and go, like respect where this person wants to go. And most of the group did, but there was people from, I don't want to say what culture, but they were from a different culture that wasn't important to them. Like all they wanted to do was go to where they wanted to go and back to the hotel. And that was eye-opening. And it made me kind of realize that I don't want to be that type of person. That if I'm going to go with the flow, I'm going to go with the flow with everybody. I'm not going to be like that one person that has an issue. So
that's a lot of personal growth there, right? Of not just knowing who you do want to be, but also knowing who you don't want to be.
Yes.
So you've talked about a lot of these amazing accomplishments. And we're always so proud to talk about you because you really do go after these opportunities. Applying 3 times is not something most people would do, right? Or knowing like, hey, I might not qualify this year, but I'm going to still put my name in the ring just to see what I can learn about it from this application process. I want to go a little bit back because this is Katia in college, but I want to hear about your college application process and how we got here, because I know that's a different journey. And I think some students could benefit from hearing what that experience was like for you. So we meet in October. By that point, you already had a college list figured out of where you wanted to go. What was the process like for you of starting out and figuring that part out?
Yes. So my sophomore year, I was set in wanting to study in New York City. Because I mean, who wouldn't? It's great. Like you see it in the movies, in shows. Like if you can't go like a day without seeing a picture of New York, literally it's anywhere. And that's where kind of like my heart like fell in love with Columbia. So before I even knew how hard it was to get in, so I fell in love with Columbia. I added it to my vision board, also with NYU. Realized that the UN headquarters were there too. So I'm like, this is like perfect. So my sophomore year, I applied to the my junior year, My junior year, I applied to the Columbia pre-college program. I get in. I had saved my quinceañera money to invest into the program. And my parents like were able to like put the rest. So I was able to go to Columbia for a week, study there. I studied entrepreneurship, and like, I won't lie, it wasn't what I expected.
How so?
Okay, so I wasn't used to being in a city with so many people, and although it was just a week, it's tough.
It wears on you.
Yeah, like campus, the Columbia campus is chill. But again, there was like a lot of like students there for these programs, and everything is like really expensive as well. The hotel where we were staying at was like near Times Square, so like either way we would have to pass a crowd to get to the hotel, and I disliked that, and my mom hated it. She absolutely hated it. She told me like, I don't want to come back.
Oh no. You're like, Mom, I hate to break it to you, but
I want to study here.
Yeah.
But overall, like it was a good experience. Like I wouldn't change it for the world. So my heart was set like on Columbia, but I was aware that I had to apply to like different universities. Like this is not a safety school. So I joined RioProgress, right? And I remember my first day I was wearing my Columbia hoodie.
I noticed it right away because I was like, oh, I know where this girl wants to go. So you joined RioProgress. What did you know about us at the time? Had you heard anything, or were you going in blind, just like, this might help?
I didn't really know much about it. It was another RioProgress alumni who like told me about this program, and then we went together, and I grabbed onto y'all's arm and was like, lead me the way.
Like, what are we going to do? And I know those conversations at first were really tough about, we need to balance your list. We need to make sure that you have options, right? And so you mentioned like it's not a safety school. So just for the audience who might not know what we're talking about here, usually when students apply to college, we have what we call target schools, which are schools that you are likely to get into. We have safety schools, which are schools that you're almost guaranteed to go into. And then we have dream or reach schools, right? Which is where Columbia falls, where MIT, Harvard, all those types of schools. And I remember when I first looked at your list, I was like, this is like 20 schools, more than half of them were reaches. And you were like, yes. I was like, that's a lot of, because the other thing with that is each of those like reach schools or those top tier universities require at least like 3 to 4 essays each.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of work. And I know at the beginning of the episode, we talked about balance and not taking on too much. And this was my first hint that you were going to be a student who not only was going to need help through the application process, but also learning how to not always put so much on your plate, right? Because how many schools did you end up applying to? Against professional
Without
advice.
you guys knowing, 49.
49 schools is too many, in case anyone was wondering. Most of our students applied at most 12. And I think we worked on 12 together, and then the rest were just you like cold applying and doing this thing. And then you got some rejections, right?
Yes.
So what was that process like?
It was expected.
Okay.
Like, I won't lie. I was expecting already to get a lot of rejection letters because, again, it's not heard of a student in the Valley getting into, like, top schools. So I saw it coming. I had heard of another girl already, like, she had already gotten into Columbia. So when I heard that, I don't want to say that my heart dropped, but it kind of, like, gave me the hint that if somebody else already got in, my chances of getting in are more lower than they were originally are. So I saw it coming, but I still had a hope because like literally what I would say to myself was, if I was able to get into the pre-college, like, I'll get in. It was not the case.
Well, those rates aren't the same, and I don't think you knew that at the time.
So I did receive like a good chunk of rejection letters, but I was also getting, well, since I ended up applying to a lot of colleges, not the rest weren't as competitive. Like, just seeing like acceptance letter, didn't matter where they were from. It also like kind of helped me like keep motivated. Like, okay, like I am a student that's wanted. I got into the University of Seattle with like a $56,000 scholarship, and I'm like, okay, like they want me, like at least somebody wants me. And at last, UT, which wasn't expected. I was never a UT fan. Well, I didn't know much about it.
I don't think you had allowed yourself to look at schools outside of, you were really set on New York, right? And really set on these big international centers.
Yes.
And I think for good reason, right? You were interested in sustainability and entrepreneurship. These are the places to be. However, it made it so that you narrowed your mindset a little bit into not considering some of these other options. I know you applied to UT kind of on a whim too, because they had extended their deadline, you said.
Yes.
And so you then get notification that you were accepted into UT, not just UT, but the Macomb School of Business, which is not easy to get into. And I think we saw your mindset shift a little bit where you're like, okay, I need to learn more.
Yes.
Right? So what was that process of accepting this and deciding to go all in? Because now we've seen that you've gone all in onto this process. How did you get there, though, from the rejections to the, proud Longhorn and loving this journey for yourself?
Yes. So something that I remember happened a lot was I would tell my parents, like, oh, like, if I don't get to like leave like the state, like I'm not gonna be like satisfied with like my college experience. And they're like, why? Because like in my mind, like that's like college, like you leave like the state, you like move to like a different place, right, where you don't have any like family, and you start like a brand new chapter. So after getting these rejection letters and after getting accepted into UT, I also I got notified that I was a Terry Scholar semi-finalist. And that made me realize that, like, hey, I have UT 6 hours away from me. It's a good school.
It's a great school.
I learn about, the Macomb has a 14% acceptance rate. And I had also just gotten into the founder program, and I told my mom, I'm like, okay, I won't lie to you, like, I think I'm gonna commit to UT. And she's like, yes, like, qué bueno, donde te den más dinero. Because I mean, at the end of the day, something that my parents always told me was like, go where you get the most like scholarship money, which is true. My parents are not rich, and I'm not either. So at the end of the day, like, college is also very like, it's very costful. So I couldn't really like give myself the luxury of like choosing where I wanted to go without having to worry about the cost. So hearing that I was a Terry finalist, and then I had gotten the Macombs Dean Scholarship, this is like, there was just like a lot of signs from the universe that like, Katia, aquí,
this is where you're meant to be.
This is where you're meant to be. And I am so happy that all of that happened. I have a full ride at UT made up of different scholarships. I didn't get the Terry, but Mario did. So at least it stayed in the RioProgress fam. And yeah, like it was just a lot of signs that were put them together, and I'm like, I don't know where else. Like, this, hook 'em.
Well, I know that we had a lot of those conversations with your parents. So this is something that RioProgress does. Once you get your acceptances, we also ask you to send us your financial aid letters, because we want to make sure that that is clear, right? That's not always something that's easy to understand or that makes perfect sense. And I know we even had to have a few calls with the financial aid office just to make sure that we were understanding everything. And at first it seemed like, well, it's going to be an almost full ride, right? Or it's going to be, and full ride means that you don't have to pay for anything. And we're like, okay, how are we going to strategize to cover the gap and all this? And I know that since you arrived there, there's also been additional opportunities and scholarships that have presented themselves that have helped cover even some of those things that might not have been the case at a different school, right? So I do think ultimately this is the place where you were meant to be. I think you're thriving there. But I know that it was also a long journey, and I think sometimes people don't see the journey behind the, like, how the final result, right? And they might see like, oh, she's killing it at UT Austin, and not hear that there was 49 applications that went into this. There was several, breakdowns and stressful moments and moments of, I'm not sure where I want to be, until it all kind of comes together and you can see the full picture.
For sure.
How do you feel that your school prepared you for college?
Okay, so I won't lie. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think that my school prepared me for college. There was some issues with some of like my donor women teachers, that they were really strict on us because they were preparing us for college. I arrived at UT and it is completely different. Well, it also depends on the professors, but most of the professors, they work with you. As long as you go to office hours, they'll help you out. We have TAs, they will assist us. We get reminders. So in a way, I feel like my high school was tougher on us, wanting to prepare us for college, but it didn't. The only help that I actually got was because I was in Upper Bound. So Upper Bound is only for like first generation or low income students. So having like the director of the Upper Bound program at Rivera, he was the one that like kept like sending us messages with, hey, like the Subiendo scholars at UT Austin, or like all of these scholarships are available for you guys. Because my high school didn't do that. All they would do was like put QR codes of like upcoming scholarships like in a bulletin board. That's it. Like, if we didn't turn to see it, we would have never known.
What about academically? How do you feel like you were prepared for the rigor of classes at a school like UT Austin?
I feel like it was somewhat similar.
Okay.
It is more difficult to have a college class than like a normal high school class, but it is like there has been like similar content. For example, I was used to navigating like Canva because I took the donor women classes. So in UT also uses Canva. So in that way, I feel comfortable. Classes wise, calculus has calculus has been like the only class that I like retake at UT. I have mixed emotions about it.
Okay.
My senior year wasn't my best year. A lot of stress. Like, I was like the NHS president. I was like doing like the competitions and 49 college applications. So I was completely burned out. And I believe that affected me academically as well. So I remember some topics covered in calculus that were covered in my business calculus class, but it wasn't completely the same. It is also very different because in high school your classes are 45 minutes, a class for 5 days, and in college it's like you can have a 1 hour class per week. So that was also very shocking. I never realized that I would have a lot of free time, which isn't really free time when you understand that how time consuming the assignments are.
So it's a lot of content all at once. And I know one of the things you were telling me earlier was that it felt like everyone else was doing really well and you were the only one struggling. And I think that's something that a lot of our students tell us especially with their math classes freshman year, that it feels like everyone else is breezing through them and I'm the only one that's like, what is happening? And I think one of the things we're looking into is why that is, right? Where our students need some help in specifically math preparation. So I know this summer we tried some calculus tutorials with some of our high school students to make sure that they do feel a little bit more prepared. Unfortunately, your group is a little bit of our guinea pigs with this, right? Where you had to come back and be like, guys, calculus is not what it's not where it's at. We are all struggling with it. And so now we know to do that better. And I think that's something that, I love this organization because we learn from you all as well, right? And we're making it better as more of our students go out into the world and tell us what they're experiencing. I'm going to pivot into things that are a little bit more about what you perceive in the future and where you want to go with what you're doing. So when you first applied to RioProgress, when you first filled out that form that we have every one of our students do, you answered this question already, but I want to hear your updated answer on how do you define progress, or what does progress mean to you?
Ooh, okay. So, since I have seen a lot of progress in my life since last August and now standing here this August, the way that I define progress is literally standing up, thinking back a year back, and analyzing and understanding every step that you've taken to be here now. That's how I define progress, because I probably see it in my life now that I've made a lot of progress from last August to this August.
Yeah, so it's that growth, right? Yes. Like the things that have happened, the things that have changed, the ways that you think differently now, all of that is part of what you define as progress.
Yes.
Okay. What is giving you hope right now?
Ooh, okay. So after going to the conference that I went to, being able to hear how there's other people close to my age, because I don't want to say my age, that are working on similar projects to mine, and even though they don't live close to where I live, they are around the world and they're working on projects. They have the same kind of like motivation as I do, and they also want the same thing that I want, which is to accomplish these sustainable development goals. So that itself, being around individuals who I found them very similar to me, gave me a lot of hope.
Feeling like you're not alone in the struggle to get there, right? Because I think sometimes, I know when you first talked to us, you were like, have you heard of the sustainable development goals? And I was like, yes, we have. But I think it's because a lot of the people you were talking to maybe hadn't heard about it or didn't care about the same things you did. And now you've found people that do. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, like everybody has like their SDG pin. And I'm like, oh my God, look. I want to.
We're in the same place. We're going towards the same things. I think those are definitely some of the moments where your cup is filled again, right? Where you're like, I don't have to explain myself. People get it here. And now we just get to work towards these goals together, right? And we get to do things together. And then one last question. If you could give one piece of advice to either younger you or current young students in Brownsville, what would it be?
Okay. If I could give okay. So I don't know if I would say a phrase. I would literally just say a quote.
Okay.
So, something that keeps me as like me. Okay, that sounds okay. Something that like reminds me of my purpose here is based on the quote that I heard that my mom told me. So it's called like, when your world turns gray, I'll lend you my colors. Okay? Because I feel like at the end of the day, we all have a purpose here. And I feel like my purpose, I don't want to cry. I feel like my purpose here is to help as much as I can. I developed new interests in business and sustainability, and that opened a huge door to me being able to help in different ways. And just, I would like to tell little Katia, like, if your world turns gray, I'll lend you my colors, and like keep that forever. Because since I was little, I, without realizing, when I like, because my mom was a school teacher in Matamoros, and she taught at a very poor school in Matamoros. And I mean, to me it seems normal, like they're like kids, like, because they were my age. I grew up with them, and realizing that all of those kids struggle a lot. Like, some kids like went to school like with like some without shoes at one point. Like, they had to get like free food and all that. Just like made me realize like how lucky I was to be born into a stable family, and how I have been given the opportunity to go to school, to go to all of these programs, to learn everything that I'm learning, to be like given a great idea that has potential at the end of the day, to help them, to help like my roots pretty much. So I would say that quote, like, at the end of the day, my purpose here is to help.
And,
so yeah.
And I think you've accomplished it really well. And I think you're going to keep finding new ways and better ways to do so. And I'm so excited to see where you go from here. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been another episode. We like to end with something that is giving us hope. So I would say, for me at least, it's this conversation, but it's also seeing the growth that you've had as a student. And I know we joked at the beginning about, you know, the double majoring and doing all this, but I really think I've seen you find balance. And I've seen you figure out, like, this is what I can handle, this is what I can put on my plate, while still remaining ambitious and still remaining in progress towards these goals without necessarily sacrificing your physical or mental or emotional well-being. And I think that gives me a lot of hope to know, like, you know, our students will figure it out, and they're going to grow, and they're going to get there. Something practical, I think Katia is a perfect example of continuing to try and applying to things, even when you feel like you might not get it, right? So just go ahead and find an opportunity that feels like it's a little challenging and you might not get it, and apply. I think that's your practical tip for today. And then something to share, as always, share this episode, but also share some of these programs with the students that you know. We mentioned AFS Youth Assembly, the Founder Program. I also know that we mentioned the Terry Scholarship, and this one we didn't mention, but I know you've been here and you're here this summer through the Home to Texas program.
Yes.
So I'll put all those links in the description, and make sure to share them with students that are either seniors in high school or in college, because there's some amazing opportunities that can come from here. Anything else you want to say before we close?
I just wanted to say thank you to RioProgress. Like, it's great, like, to see like how the program has grown, like, itself. Like, we went from juices to like you guys having a physical office here, and it's great. And like, I want you guys to know that the reason why I'm like here in IUT is because of your help, because I wouldn't have known how to navigate the financial aid system, and a lot of students don't. So just starting off with that, the phone call that you made to the financial aid office, that was, thank you for all of that. And
we had a good time. It was...
Oh, definitely.
No, we really love what we do, and I know that one of my favorite things is watching you all see the new students come in and how they're processing everything, because it is like it's a growth that you all help make happen, because you all also bring us students, right? You all also share this information, And I love it. I'm so excited for how it's going to continue to do this because of the effort that you all also put in. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us for another episode, and we hope you'll stay tuned for the next one. Thank you all so much for watching this podcast and following along with us. If you really liked it, please feel free to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that you might be listening to this. And if you want more information about the work that we do, you can go to realprogress.org or you can follow us on socials at RioProgress.